All right, I'm back. I'm back in the shed. Welcome to the third journal of the FifeLife, an Australian canary hobby. I'm Mike, if you haven't watched the other two previous episodes, and these are my fifes. And I'm here to help promote and give exposure to the hobby of canary keeping here in Australia. But we've also been receiving some lovely messages and feedback from around the world. Out of the UK, I want to give a big shout out to David's Bird Room. David contacted me and sent me a lovely message, mate. That was fantastic. Thank you, it made my day. He's also going to be in Australia soon. He's visiting some family in Coffs Harbour. So if you're in that area, perhaps you can check him out, touch base, and maybe invite him to your bird room. I'm sure he's got lots of knowledge that he can share with you. The other person that gave me a lovely message, and I want to give a shout out to, Red Factor Man. Thanks, buddy. Mate, that was lovely. Made my day. To both those guys, David's Bird Room, Red Factor Man. They've got YouTube channels, so jump on over and subscribe, hit the like button. Look, the more we're sharing the hobby, the more we're clicking on and giving views and likes to the hobby, the better. All right, guys. So, moving forward, today's topic, I want to talk about water. Okay, something so simple, and yet you'd be surprised how many times I've seen dirty drinkers not giving the animals fresh water daily and things like that. And that's right across, you know, I've worked with dogs professionally, the dog father, dog training, you know, going to people's houses and helping them with their dogs, dirty water bowl, bucket with grime in it, probably hasn't been changed for a little while. It's the bare minimum, guys, but I'm here to say that we can even go one better. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my favorite products, the things that I use, and how they're working for me. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this journal. Thank you so much to everyone who also messaged me. The birds are back in the shed. We've had a really rough 48 hours. Tropical cyclone Kiralee moved through the Townsville. We were directly hit by a Category 2 cyclone. And last night was a bit of a rough night. We had winds that were up around the 120 kilometre mark. You know, nearly blew our socks off. The birds were evacuated out of the shed. I put them into a safe room, had them all covered up. So I'll show you a couple of pictures and a short video of what we were hit with last night. But they've fared really well, you know, so I'm just really glad that I took the precautions I did. And thank you to everyone for your lovely messages, wishing us to stay safe. We are all safe. We made it through, and the birds seem to be very much unaffected by all of that. So, where are you? There you are. Hey, buddy. So as you can see, the birds are unaffected by it. They look really good. So we're really happy. But thanks again, guys. I really appreciate those messages, and your thoughts were very comforting. Alright folks, today's topic, the FifeLife Journal, and something I want to talk to people about is water. Now we've had a lot of it, as I mentioned, we've had a tropical cyclone Category 2 move through, so we've had a fair bit of water, but I'm talking today about the birds' water, okay? And you know, look, the first thing I'll say is, you know I'm passionate about perches, no dirty perches, and let's have our cages clean if we're going to be sharing photos on social media platforms. And just make sure that we're all over that. But if you really want to know what boils my broth, it's not giving animals fresh water every day. All right, fresh water is a must. Animals, depending on the species, can go without food for a period of time, but water is that is the liquid to survive upon. So it's very important. I've visited a number of bird rooms, I've seen people's aviaries. people have different standards, but honestly, nothing gets me more upset than seeing dirty drinkers with slime in them, okay, and not going to the effort of giving that animal fresh water daily. So fresh water is a must, and today what I want to talk about is, well, what can we put in the water to get the most out of our birds and give our birds the best opportunity when it comes to things like the breeding season, or to bring them through the molt nice and quickly, of which the birds they're doing great. And there are some products that I use. I want to talk about those products because I do have a schedule or a water regime that I do. And I think the birds speak for themselves. The birds look good. This is in the molt. The birds have moved through it very quickly. Their feathers are looking good. And I think, yes, nutrition, and yes, the foods and the things that we feed, look, our seeds and our leafy greens and the fresh foods, our egg food and soft food is important, but so is our water. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And we'll start off with the first product that I use. Solvite D. Now, I do use a lot of the Vetafarm products. Now, they're Australian-made products. People are going to have different opinions. I'll say, this is what I like, this is what I have used for quite a while now, and I've used that pretty much since I first got into birds. I've used that product. And, it's a multivitamin. It has vitamin D, which helps with calcium uptake, which I'll talk about calcium later. It's a very easy to use product. It's a very easy to get product. So whilst people may put forward other recommendations, that's great, but if we're in Australia and it's an American product or it's a product over in Europe, it's going to be hard for us to get. It's going to be expensive. This is pretty mainstream. So I like it. It works well. I think the birds speak for themselves, But what I like about it is you can also put it in your soft food. So it's a powder, and with this powder, it is something that you can just sprinkle over your soft food. I put it in my egg food during the breeding season, and it seems to work well for that as well. So, Solvite D, multivitamin, the birds love it. Now, I'm just going to go through and show you. This is what it looks like when it's mixed up. So it does look a little bit like something you might see on a long car trip if Dad said, "We're not stopping, lads." I don't know about you guys, but the old pea bottle, but it's not. Okay, that's the colour that it is. I do it, per the recommendation. So that's not too strong. Don't look at it and go, "Oh, geez, it looks strong." That's how it should look. Okay, so I'm just going to run through these drinkers and talk while I do that. But the other thing I want to talk about while we're on the topic of water is the drinkers. Now, over the years, I've tried different types. One thing that I will say that I find very helpful is to have drinkers that have a white cup or a white base. I think that's really important. I used to have ones and they're quite popular and they're quite readily available on eBay that had a green base. Now, the problem with that is they tended to hide a few little secrets. And one was they hid a little bit of the grime, a little bit of the green mouldy stuff that builds up. So I ditched them pretty quick because I just didn't think that they were cleaning up nicely and they were sort of hiding a few little secrets. So white bases are good. I don't think you can go wrong with that. Try and steer clear of dark colours. Like I've seen really dark navy blue ones and things like that. I think white tells us everything we need to know about our drinkers, and they should be immaculate. There should be no slime. I do a little deep clean on these guys. In summer, every 3 or 4 days, give them a bit of a scrub with a bottle brush, the toothbrush, and that works well. When the weather's cooler, because we don't see algae and the sort of grime build up in the cooler months as quickly, I'd probably go about 5 days. But I don't leave it any more than 5 days. You can leave it a week, I guess. But, I've seen people say, I change my waters every 2nd or 3rd day. Hey, animals, give them fresh water, guys. Show your birds you love them. It's really not that much to ask. They'll really appreciate it. And, get them on the right stuff as well. So, the next product I'm going to talk about because I think this is, if you're only going to give your bird one thing in your water, and I know people say, oh, you know, you don't need to use that, this or that. Yeah, you're probably right. You don't need to, but I think it's good to. And I think if we're going to talk about products, the one that's a must, I think calcium. Now, liquid calcium is very important for birds, especially in the breeding season. That prevents hens going egg-bound, and you're having issues with egg production. Again, it's a VetaFarm product. It's easy to get. It's affordable. I really like it. I've never had it let me down. I did use another product once, and I won't say what it was because I don't want to offend anyone, but it destroyed my breeding season. And that was because I had hens that were producing soft eggs, and the calcium product really let me down. So I don't muck around with it. I put this in the bird's water every week, once a week, and in the breeding season twice a week, and in the lead up to the breeding season twice a week. I use the multivitamin pretty much every other day, okay? But calcium, that's super important, and they complement each other. As I said, the vitamin D helps with calcium uptake. So that's a cool little product. I use it. There's other calciums on the market, and again, people have their personal preference. I have found sometimes the taste of the calcium in the water, it must have a little bit of a bitter taste. There's a few tricks to make sure that the birds drink it, because they don't seem to drink as much of that as they will this. And what I do is, the day before I give my calcium, I take the water away at about 5 p.m. So in the late afternoon, I just take the water away, and then I reintroduce the drinkers with the calcium in it, and I put them back up about sort of 7:30 in the morning. So the birds have already been up for about an hour, right? They went to bed, I took it away, and then as I put it on, they will literally hit the drinker straight away. So that might be a little bit of a tip for you guys to help if you're having a bit of a problem. The other thing, and this has helped with another product I use, is I just put it in a spray bottle, and I'll just slightly spray their greens, leafy greens. So I might spray a spinach leaf, or I might, you know, bok choy, pak choy, whatever I'm using. I'll just give it a little spray, and when I put it in, as the birds are eating it, there's just a little mist, a little bit of the calcium on that as well, and that seems to help for the birds that are a little bit fussy. All right. So the second one is calcium. I believe, you know, your bird should have calcium. One of the things I didn't mention about this stuff here that I've got, the Solvite D, is it is recommended for birds that are indoors, so birds that don't get natural sunlight. So take that into consideration as well. I think it's good. All right, the next one. I rate this stuff. I really do, and I can speak from personal experience. It's called Spark, all right? And Spark is it says it's an energy supplement with electrolytes. So it's kind of like I guess what we could say, it's very similar to your Powerade, your Gatorade, and that type of thing. Given that we had a tropical cyclone and I had to move the birds and I had to evacuate them out of the shed here, what I did is I put this in their water while they were out of their natural environment, and I also gave it to them first thing this morning. So that's a good one. It can give the birds a little pep up, and I think it's a good one. Also, when I've had birds transported up here, I've given them that as well for 2 days. All right, I know some show people have said to me, yeah, Mike, I use Spark as well, because taking and exhibiting birds can knock them around a little bit if they've been on the show bench and they've had to travel early to get there and all those sort of things. So Spark, it's another VetaFarm product. It's good stuff, okay? All right, and that takes me to the last one. And this is a preventative. It's a preventative product that I use. I used to use a product to worm my birds, and I used to use a product, or ivermectin product for mite and the treatment of lice and mite on birds, right? I just use one product now, and this is Dr. Rob Marshall's S76, and it is, I believe, it is fantastic for me. I love it. It's a little bit expensive, but it's very, very good, and the service I got from those guys out of the, I'm going to say Carlingford, I want to say that. Yeah, the Carlingford Vet Clinic was exceptional. So the information I got about the product, how to use the product, but also having to speak to someone on the phone and register for the product before it would be sent out, I think that just speaks volumes of ethics. So I'm really impressed with this. I've been using it now probably about a year, and I don't have any issues with the birds looking anything other than good. So if the birds look good, I'm going to say the products are good. All right, but S76, Dr. Rob Marshall, that's his product, and I absolutely rate it. It does your worming, it does your mite and lice treatment. You give it to the birds for 2 consecutive days each month. All right, so I do it first and second of the month, every month. And what I do is I also lightly mist it or spray it on some greens and so forth. And you know, it works a treat. It's a really, really good product. So that's another one. So they're the 4 products that I use in the water for the birds. You know, simple stuff. Look, occasionally I might just give them just some fresh water. I might actually just give them nothing in their water for a day. But I do stick to a bit of a regime. I run like clockwork in here, and that's working for the birds. And you know, like I said, if the birds look good, if the birds look happy, fantastic. Well, then it's working. Okay. So hopefully that helps you guys. Hopefully that's a little tip with your water. But guys, again, daily fresh water. It's not a lot to ask. You know, they don't ask for much. But I think if we can't get that right, well, you know, we probably won't get many other things right. So there you go. Alrighty. Cool stuff. All right, folks, so that's it. Another journal, another episode of the FifeLife Australian Canary Hobby. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe, share it to any of your favourite Facebook or social media platforms, and also try and get it out amongst other hobby groups, pages, so that we can spread the word. Because that's how the hobby grows, and that's how we build interest in what we love doing, which is keeping birds. So thanks again, guys. We survived, and appreciate all those lovely messages once again. And please do take care, and remember, happy Fife, happy life.